All right, let us continue from where we end in our first discussion. So today we'll be looking at soil profile. Now, soil profile is the vertical sectional view of the soil showing its various distinct layers. And these layers are called horizon. Let us look at a diagram representing soil profile. We divide it into 4 sections as we can see on the screen. Now we have the organic material and the topsoil, which form one part called A horizon. We have the subsoil, which form B horizon. We have weathered material, which form C horizon. And we have bedrock, which form D horizon. All right, let us look at importance of soil profile. Number 1, the depth of the soil and subsoil helps in deciding the type of crop to cultivate. Number 2, the color and depth of the topsoil is used to predict the organic matter content. Number 3, it enables the farmer to know the type of implement to use. Let us look at some of the characteristics of the various layers of the soil profile. So first of all, let us look at the characteristics of topsoil. Number 1, it's dark in color. Number 2, it's rich in organic matter content. Number 3, it consists of thin vegetation cover and few young plants. And number 4, it's highly exposed to soil erosion. So these are some few characteristics of topsoil. Let us look at characteristics of subsoil. Number 1, layers are made up of gravel. Number 2, nutrients leached from the topsoil are deposited in the subsoil. Number 3, less dark or reddish in color. Now let us look at some characteristics of parent material. Number 1, they have no organic matter. Number 2, they have no living organisms. Number 3, they compose of unconsolidated weathered particle. Let us look at characteristics of bedrock. Number 1, they contain no soil living organisms. Number 2, they contain no organic matter. Number 3, they consist of all types of rocks. And number 4, they are not permeable. Don't forget that living organisms can be found in the topsoil as well. Let us look at fertile soil. When we say a soil is fertile, what does it mean? We say a fertile soil is the one that can provide adequate conditions and nutrients for effective growth of a plant. Let us look at some features of a fertile soil. Number 1, it must have good aeration, which means the amount of air that can circulate in it should be high. Number 2, it must have a suitable pH. Number 3, it must contain useful soil organisms. Number 4, it must have good water retaining capacity. All right, let us look at soil productivity. When we say soil productivity or a soil is productive, is the ability of a soil to provide desired yield in the cultivation of a given plant when properly managed. Now, let us look at some ways by which a soil can lose its fertility. Number 1, by leaching. Number 2, overgrazing. Number 3, soil erosion. Number 4, mining activities. Number 5, bush burning. Number 3, crop removal. Now, these ways by which soil can lose its fertility, let us look at some explanation of few of them. So number one, leaching. Leaching is the process by which nutrients are washed away from the topsoil by water into the deep layer of the soil where it cannot be used by crop. Let us look at crop removal. We say this is the process by which nutrients are lost from the soil as a result of continuous cultivation of crops on a particular land for a period of time. Let us look at soil depletion. Soil depletion is the process by which the components which contribute to soil fertility are removed and not replaced, and the conditions which support soil fertility are not maintained. All right, let us look at soil erosion as a subtopic. Now, soil erosion is the process of washing away the topsoil by agents such as water, air, wind, and human activities. Now, let us look at some types of soil erosion. Number one, we have gully erosion. Number two, sheet erosion. Number three, rail erosion. Number four, splash erosion. All right, with this type of erosions, let us see how we can explain few of them. Number one, rail erosion. This is the removal of the topsoil along a narrow tracks or channels by rain drops. Splash erosion. This is the removal of the topsoil from the small area by raindrops. Effect of soil erosion. Number one, nutrients are washed away. Number two, loss of macro and micro nutrients. Now let us look at ways by which we can control soil erosion. Number one, by mulching. Number two, by growing cover crops. Number three, avoid overgrazing. Number four, we can have contour plowing. All right, let us look at fertilizer as a topic. Fertilizer is a substance which can be solid or liquid applied to the soil to improve its fertility. Now let us look at types of fertilizers. Number one, we have organic fertilizer. Number two, we have inorganic fertilizer. Now let's take them one by one and explain them. So number one, organic fertilizer. Organic fertilizers are manures or decomposed organic matter derived from plants and animals, such as green manure, compost, farmyard manure, human waste. Advantages of incorporating organic fertilizer in the soil, or importance of applying organic fertilizer. Number one, it improves soil aeration. Number two, it improves soil fertility. Number three, it improves soil structure. All right, let us look at inorganic fertilizer as type of a fertilizer. So inorganic fertilizers are fertilizers that are manufactured from inorganic materials containing one or more plant nutrients, used mainly for plant nutrient content and designed for use in promoting plant growth. Types of inorganic fertilizers. Number one, we have simple inorganic fertilizer. Number two, we have compound inorganic fertilizer. Now let us look at simple inorganic fertilizer. This is a type of inorganic fertilizer which contains only one element. Examples are urea, nitrate of potash. Now let us look at compound inorganic fertilizer. This is a type of inorganic fertilizer which contains two or more elements. Example is NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Now let us look at some disadvantages of applying inorganic fertilizer in the soil. Number one, it causes soil acidity. Number two, it causes soil alkalinity. Number three, they easily leached. Number four, it destroys soil structure. Number five, it reduces the population of micro and macroorganisms. Let us look at some ways of applying soil fertilizer. Number one, we have side dressing, top dressing, rig method, broadcasting method, and we can have band placement. Let us look at some few definitions of method of applying fertilizer into the soil. So number one, we have top dressing. And we say top dressing, this is the process by which a liquid fertilizer solution is sprayed on growing crops using standard sprayer. Let us look at broadcasting method. This is where the fertilizer is spread uniformly as possible over the land. Let us look at ring method. This is where the fertilizer is placed in a shallow or fallow around each plant. All right, let us look at plant nutrients as a subtopic. The plant nutrients, they are substances that are added or can be found in the soil to provide nutrients to support plant growth. Let us look at types of plant nutrients. Number one, we have macronutrients. Number two, we have micronutrients. Now let us look at the definition of these two types of plant nutrients. Macronutrients, they are nutrients that are required by plants in large quantities for proper growth of plants. Examples are potassium, calcium, magnesium, nitrogen, and phosphorus. Now let us look at micronutrients. These are nutrients that are required by plants in small quantities for proper growth of plants. Examples are zinc, iron, copper, boron, chlorine. All right, let us look at irrigation as a subtopic in agri. Now, when we say irrigation, irrigation is the artificial application of water to the soil to support the growth of plants. Now, let us look at types of irrigation. We have number one, surface irrigation. Number two, sprinkle irrigation. Now, let us take them one by one and define them. Surface irrigation. Surface irrigation is the process by which water is made to flow along the surface of the land, in which the water is distributed uniformly on the soil surface. Sprinkle irrigation is the process by which water is sprayed into the air and allow it to fall on the soil or crops in form of raindrops. Now let us look at importance of irrigation. Number one, it softens the land for tillage operations. Number two, it provides moisture or water for plant growth. Number three, it ensures survival of plants during drought season. Number four, it makes early planting possible. This brings us to the brief knowledge on the topic soil and soil conservation in agri. Thank you.